family, beautiful beings of planet Earth and beyond. Welcome to this video on the channel of Ancient Ascension. My name is Paula, and today I am going to be sharing with each of you my personal journey dealing with and struggling with eczema, an autoimmune condition that caused rashes and itchiness all over my body that I dealt with for about 5 years. And the most important part of this video is I want to share with each of you how the sacred medicine of kambo, the frog secretion medicine from the Amazon jungle, was the only thing that actually healed my body of that autoimmune condition. And not only that, it allowed my immune system to come back into balance, come back to where it should be, stop attacking itself, and I can live without an autoimmune condition now. And I think that it is a very important experience to share, because I'm making this video to remind each of you that there are alternative healing options beyond the Western world. And in this video, I will share my personal experience and my journey with trying to heal my eczema, in the Western world, and how that went. And also my journey on how I found the medicine of kambo, how many times I worked with it, and how quickly it healed my body, as well as the fact that I do not require to continue to take the medicine of kambo for my body and my skin to be free of eczema. As well, in this video, I want to share really important information about the medicine of kambo for those of you maybe interested. It's a very, very powerful medicine. I have been training with an extremely professional practitioner of this medicine, a shaman from Brazil. I've been training with him for the past 2 years, and soon I will be able to provide this medicine myself, but it takes a long time to really understand how to work with this medicine safely. So just know that the information that I'm going to share is pretty much from the source, from a shaman who works closely with the Honey Queen, one of the original communities who really developed working with this medicine of kambo. So just know that what I share is from my personal experience, and it's authentic. It's authentic. If you don't know me, if you've never watched my videos before, welcome. My name is Paula. I live in Ecuador. I have been here for almost 3 years. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a yoga teacher. I do energy work as well. But for the past 3 years, my life has been extremely revolved around the sacred plant medicine ceremonies. I work alongside and assist shamans. I sing in the ceremonies. I take care of the fire. I pray. I take care of the people who are requiring help. So that's kind of my life. I live down here, and I recognize I am so blessed to have this life that I have, to have this opportunity that I have. People will message me all the time or send me an email. How can I get into that space? How can I gain the trust of the indigenous people and learn that stuff? And I really don't have an answer for that. Sometimes this type of work and getting into this path is just soul alignment, being so aligned on your path, being open to life and where it wants to take you. I don't have an answer for that. But anyway, let's get into this video. I am very excited to share this information. I've kind of been sitting on this video for a while, kind of waiting to feel ready to share. And I want to share it. I think it's important to share this story just to remind each of you that there are alternative healing methods beyond the first world practices, beyond Western medicine. I am a huge fan of Western medicine. My sister's a nurse, and I think it's amazing that we have all the tools, all the medicines that we have. I am by no means against Western medicine, okay? I love it so much, and we've come so far. But the reality is Western medicine does not have all the answers. I mean, humans don't have all the answers, and it's more than okay. I just know from personal experience how frustrating it can be to be living and dealing with an autoimmune condition or some type of condition where you go to Western medicine and they really only have like extreme options, or they really don't know how to help you heal that situation in general. So I know how frustrating that can be, and this video is just my personal story, a reminder of what is possible when you trust in yourself and what your body or your spirit or your mind is asking you to explore and try. That's what this video is for. So I know how it can be, and I think it's so incredible how this medicine of kambo, this frog secretion medicine, actually healed my autoimmune condition. So let's get into it. Just before I dive deeper into this, I just want to make a disclaimer and remind each of you that I am not a doctor. Okay, I'm a massage therapist, yoga teacher, plant medicine worker person. Okay, I am by no means giving you medical advice. I am by no means telling you what to do. Always work with your professional doctor when wanting to try new things or go a different direction in healing. I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do. I'm just sharing this story in the hopes that it can help some of you realize there are other methods of healing out there. Okay, so just that disclaimer needs to be said. Okay, so my journey with eczema. My eczema began when I was about 20 years old. Okay, I'm 30 now. And it started with a very small patch of skin on top of my right ankle that started to open. And it was so itchy, and I couldn't help but itch it. And through itching it, it just grew and grew. It started maybe this big on my ankle, and then it grew to about this big on top of my ankle. And then it expanded from my ankle to my knees to my elbows and just random parts of my body. My skin was starting to not be normal. You know, it was starting to be red and rashy and itchy, and it really progressed pretty quickly. When this really started to progress, the first place I went was to see a Western doctor. Basically, he told me that there wasn't a whole lot that he could do for me. I really didn't want to get on any medications or anything extreme like that. So the only thing he could do was he gave me a cream and he said, this should help, it might help. That was really it. I was pretty young, and when you're 20 years old, you really don't know about the medical system or how things should be. I do remember today that there was no asking about my diet. There was no asking about what I put into my body, how I feel, what I'm doing in my daily life. He just looked at my skin, gave me a cream, and said, this should help. He never asked me to really come back. Like, it kind of felt like he knew that they don't really know how to heal it exactly. You know, there is no perfect protocol for healing an autoimmune condition, no matter what it is. That's kind of the situation that we're in with these autoimmune things. So that was really frustrating, and I used the cream, and the cream did not help at all. And at the time, or maybe the year after, maybe around 21 or 22, I was working in a chiropractor's office in Colorado as a massage therapist, kind of doing specific treatments on people's bodies. By the grace of the Great Spirit, one of my clients who I gave massages to was a naturopath. She was a naturopathic doctor. We had such a good relationship that she offered to give me sessions and treatments for free, which, being 21 or 22, I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, yes, thank you so much. Because she really did care about me. So I started seeing her. She did some biofeedback therapies that were really to see what my body agrees with, what my body doesn't agree with. She gave me tinctures, she gave me clay to put on my skin, and as informative as she was, I am really grateful for my sessions with her, because at the age of 22, you know, I wasn't that aware of what I was putting into my body. I was still drinking alcohol. I was still pretty much eating whatever I wanted to. Although none of her tinctures or none of her treatments helped my eczema in any way, she did give me a lot of awareness on what my body likes and doesn't like. You know, she told me alcohol was straight poison for my body. Like, more so, you know, some people can drink, some people can't. She let me know that gluten really wasn't good for my body, you know, certain things. And I think I was a vegetarian at the time, and she was the one that actually suggested that maybe I reintroduce meat into my diet. And so really working with her was really focused around what I was putting in my gut, because she was the one who finally explained to me that eczema and these skin conditions are only there because of a deeper rooted issue inside your belly, or how you're processing what you're consuming. So I am really grateful for her, because I did really start to change my diet. And I wanted to stop drinking alcohol. It took me a couple years to actually fully cut it out. I stopped eating gluten, but that from age 20 to 24, nothing was really getting solved as far as my skin and this eczema that was just persistent and so uncomfortable. I don't know if you yourself have struggled with autoimmune stuff, or if you know someone in your life, but it is extremely challenging. You know, I was constantly hiding my elbows, I didn't want to wear sandals even when it was warm. It was so embarrassing to have these big things all over my body. When I really started to understand that it was my diet, I went into this huge process of being upset at my body. Like, oh, how come all my friends can drink on the weekends and eat pizza and whatever they want, and if I do it, then my skin is all flared up. Like, what's wrong with me? It's like when you have an autoimmune condition, you really start to go inwards and wonder, what is wrong with me? Why is my immune system attacking itself? Like, what did I do wrong? That was a really hard time in my life, honestly, because it was just I felt so exposed. I felt so exposed of, like, anyone who looked at me was like, oh, like, what's wrong with that person? What is wrong with her? Does she not take care of herself? And, even though I was trying to take care of myself. I was almost 25 when I had really had it with my situation. I was a massage therapist and a yoga teacher at that time too. I remember, with the eczema, with the autoimmune, with kind of not drinking, but still choosing to drink on the weekends, I really had this moment with myself where I realized, like, if you really are serious about continuing to help people, whether it's through massage therapy, whether it's through teaching yoga or whatever it is, I was young, I didn't know what I would end up doing, but I always knew I wanted to help people. And I had this moment of realizing, like, you got to get your shit together. Like, who are you to lead a yoga class when you have all this stuff going on within yourself? I really felt this call of, like, go heal yourself. Go get the majority of your healing, the childhood stuff, this body stuff out of the way in order for yourself to take yourself seriously. That's really how I felt when I was almost 25. So at the age of almost 25, I made the decision to sell all my things, move into my car, and save up money so that I could travel to the country of Colombia. Because I knew within my heart that I was so interested in plant medicines. I had heard about kambo, I heard about ayahuasca, I heard about San Pedro, I heard about sweat lodge ceremonies. And anytime I heard about those things, something within my heart always said yes. Like, you belong in South America. In a way, I felt that, but I wasn't sure really what was happening. Towards the end of being 24, I packed my things and traveled down to Colombia with a backpack. And let me tell you something, family. God takes care of us when we get out of our own way and let life move us where it wants us to be moved. So I traveled with a backpack to Colombia in February of 2020. And my only plans, I was very naive. It was my first big trip out of the United States. My only plan was to volunteer at this community of families who I knew worked with some medicines, but their main medicine was how we can live in a community. And they were in the Andes Mountains of Colombia. I was only planning on being there for like 2 weeks, but I had no idea that all the borders were about to close in a couple weeks and movement was going to be really hard in Colombia. So I actually arrived to that community in the Andes the day the world shut down, I think it was March 19th, 2020, or whatever the date was. It was that day because this lady from the community was texting me. She was like, you have to get here now. If you don't get here, you're going to be stuck in a hostel, and we know you want to come here. So it was such a godly movement that actually got me there. I really wasn't seeking the medicine of kambo, but now that I look back, kambo was seeking me, because the night that I got to that community center, the main medicine man had a conversation with me and the other volunteers who squeaked their way in there. There was like 4 of us. And he said, you're welcome to stay here as long as you need, because we don't know what's happening in the world. You know, you don't have to leave by a certain time, but you do need to come into our community and be open to the medicines that we do and be open to the lifestyle that we have. And I was just so open, you know, to life and the experience. And I said, yes, of course, I'm in your home. Like, what are we doing? And he said, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., I'm going to provide each of you the medicine of kambo. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, cool. I've heard of kambo. I've been wanting it. You know, I have these rashes on my body. And he told me right away, like, this is going to help you tremendously. What's so beautiful about that place was, he said, as long as you're working in the community, all the treatments, all the sweat, they also worked with sweat lodges, all of that stuff, that healing was free because it was a work exchange, an energy exchange. Looking back now, I don't know how I end up in these situations where life, God, the Great Spirit is just putting me so perfectly on the pathway, not really asking much of me, but just to be open. You know, and I think it's the same for you too, for each of us, is how open we can be to life and trusting in the Great Spirit, trusting in God to move us, you know, and give us the experiences that will help us heal, that will help us come back home to our center and our bodies. I'm not going to talk too much about what kambo is exactly. I can make another video about that. I could talk for a long time about kambo, but kambo is a medicine from the Amazon jungle, and the medicine is the secretion of a certain frog that is there. This medicine has been used by communities in the jungle for a very, very long time. They've used it for healing, for purification, and even hunting in the jungle because it can really heighten your senses. The medicine is not consumed through the mouth, but it is placed on little burn marks that are made in your skin. Basically, they come with a stick and they'll open little dots in your skin, and then basically maybe the first layer or 2 of skin, it's not a deep burn, and then the medicine, the secretion of the frog, is placed into those dots in the skin so that the medicine, the secretion, can enter into the circulatory system as well as the lymphatic system within our bodies, which is why it's so powerful. It's such a powerful cleaning medicine. And oh my God, there's so much I could say about that medicine, but for sure another video, because I really want to share the experience of how it healed my eczema. The medicine man, he could see the state my body was in, and he recommended for me definitely 3 sessions of kambo within 21 days. And that's a pretty typical recommendation for someone with an autoimmune condition, different for every condition. And you know, I was like, yes, whatever you recommend, if you're seriously saying you can help me, like, this is amazing. My experience with kambo, you know, today I've worked with kambo quite a bit, but the majority of my experience with kambo was in Colombia at that community center. I'll talk a little bit about my experience with kambo there. So that was the first time that I ever had done any kind of alternative medicine. I mean, except for mushrooms and LSD, I started experiencing since I was 15. But you know, outside of the United States, you know, plant medicine, animal medicine, that kind of stuff. So it was my first experience. And I remember the first morning I went down there, he gave me a shovel and asked me to dig a hole in a spot in the forest that I felt good in, because that hole was going to be for my purging that came out. You know, I just remember being so open, so willing to whatever was going to happen. And I knew that I had heard that the medicine was intense for sure. So I was ready for that. You only drink water before you experience that medicine. You go into the ceremony in the morning in a fasted state with plenty of water in your system. And, you know, he made, I think my first one, I had 3 points. So he made the burns on my skin, and then he put the medicine in my skin, and immediately I could feel my heart racing. I could feel like it felt so hot, like my blood was boiling. You know, I felt twinges in my stomach. And, you know, he was singing, doing his thing for all of us volunteers. And I do remember purging, and, you know, it was a quite intense experience. If you've done kambo, you know, it's intense, but amazing at the same time. It's so purifying. It's such an incredible medicine. I love it so much. As soon as they wipe the medicine off of you, you start to feel yourself coming back to normal. And I just remember laying back on the floor of the forest, looking up at the trees, just like, I felt so clear. I felt like there was no noise in my mind. I felt like my heart was so strong. I just laid there for like 20 minutes just in silence, just because I can see how it heightens your senses as well. And the second session of kambo that I did was 5 points. And that session went so much deeper than the first one. You know, I think they kind of build upon each other, but I remember purging green and yellow and pink, like biles and slimes coming out. Like, it felt like my organs were like wringing themselves out like a wet towel almost. I remember as I was purging, I was flooded with all these, it was like I was flooded with an awareness of how toxic I was making my own body. Like all the alcohol that I drank, all the drugs that I consumed, all the relationships that I had, like all the things that were not actually good for me were coming through my mind as my purge was coming out, similar to experiences in ayahuasca. And I just remember as I was purging, I was like, I don't ever want to put those things back into my body. But after the second session, a big rash actually broke out on my stomach, like a really big red itchy rash. And I went to the medicine man, you know, once that session was done. I was like, look at my stomach, like this is not good. And he said, no, that's good. You know, like your autoimmune, your eczema is because of your stomach and your organs, and, you know, things are out of balance there. So the fact that a rash is coming out on your stomach, he was like, this is good. And I was like, okay, like I'm trusting you fully. Then I did a third session. I think it was 5 points again, also very intense, but not as intense as the second one. In total, I stayed at that community space for 6 months since the borders were closed. You know, all visas stopped, and Colombia was like, if you're in Colombia, don't worry about your visa. It was great. And the US Embassy kept calling me like, get on your last flight to the USA. I was like, no, thank you. Like, I'm good here. So in total, while I was at that community center, I probably did around 9 sessions of kambo. But it was after the first 3 that my skin actually started clearing and it started healing. And I think doing the additional 6 sessions was definitely extremely beneficial. You know, I didn't do them like every month, every time, but I did maybe 9, maybe a few more sessions than that, just because I was really loving that medicine. And he recommended, like, yeah, if you really want to heal this and keep it healed, then continue to work with it. But by the time I was leaving that place, so 6 months was the total time, showing up there with eczema and rashes on my body, leaving there with all those rash patches starting to heal and they weren't itchy anymore. That was incredible to me. And I will say at that community center, we also did sweat lodges. But not with any other plant medicine. It was very about healing the physical container and purifying the mind, purifying the body. And I'm so grateful to God for putting me in that opportunity to live with them. I left after 6 months, and that was the only kambo that I worked with for many years after that. And when I left that place, even when I returned to the United States eventually and was out of that environment, my eczema never returned. I don't have to continue to work with the medicine of kambo for my immune system. The sessions that I did in Colombia completely healed me from that situation. It reset my immune system. It allowed my immune system to get rid of all the toxins in my body that it kept attacking, and it couldn't figure out that it was attacking itself. And it allowed my immune system to come back to normal. And I've never had an autoimmune issue since then. I've never had my skin break out as it did since then, which to me is so, so incredible. Even to this day, I don't require that medicine. I take it maybe once a year, probably less, just to continue to boost my immune system. And because I am training and learning alongside a medicine man on how to provide this medicine. So I like to stay connected to it. And I will tell you guys, throughout these past almost 2 years of working with this medicine man from Brazil and working with so many people, you know, providing the medicine, watching their process, learning from the shaman, it is incredible what kambo can actually help people with. I have seen people heal their allergies. I've seen them heal other autoimmune conditions. I've seen them heal from parasites. I've seen them heal vision issues and insomnia, anxiety, depression, addictions is a huge thing it helps people with. I'm just amazed, you know, I'm amazed. And I do know that there are a lot of opinions around kambo as well as all plant medicines online. You know, everybody and their mother has their opinion on if it's good, it's the devil, it's godly, you know, it's kind of a shame because, you know, I work at a plant medicine retreat healing center, and the healing that happens there is otherworldly. It's like quantum level healing for these people, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all the things. And it is a shame when I see all those negative opinions on it because of maybe someone had a negative experience or it wasn't the experience that they wanted, which, hello, these medicines are hardcore. I'll say that, you know, they're not for the faint-hearted people. Or just a lot of misinformation. People who aren't living around medicine people who aren't learning from the people who know what they're doing. And I want to make another YouTube video about how shamans are humans. They're people, okay? And not all of them are doing their work in the highest vibration possible. You know, there is a lot of ego in the shaman world, and that's a whole nother topic. But what I've seen in my experience, in my life, are, and thank God for this, I have only come into contact with real, authentic, humble people with integrity providing these medicines. And I'm so grateful for that because I have heard horror stories of other experiences. I wanted to make this video because this medicine is so powerful. All these plant medicines are powerful. I don't care what the opinions are. It's my life. And it's changed my life, and I'm so honored to be in the space of helping others come to these medicines too, in a safe, supportive, real environment, right? I'm sorry if the wind is really loud. It's getting crazy out here. You know, these plants on this land that I live on, they communicate with me, and I sometimes feel like what I'm saying, they're like, yes, dancing around me. But some really important information that I want to share about kambo, if you have been interested or if you're wondering if it's good for you, just a couple things that are really important for me to say. Kambo is a very serious medicine, and it is not for everyone. It really isn't. It's not for people on certain medications. It's not for people who are missing certain organs. It's not for people who have serious heart conditions. So if you're going to do this medicine, you need to have like you need to provide all of your health information to the practitioner. Speaking of the practitioner, do not just work with anyone. If your practitioner did an online course training for this medicine, or a month-long training, do not work with them. I'm sorry. This medicine requires years of training to watch many cases of people and how they respond and how to safely apply it and where to put it on the body. Don't work with people who haven't actually worked with true medicine people learning how to share this medicine over years. That's super important. Any practitioner of this medicine should have a very deep relationship with the medicine and lots of experience watching another professional provide it to people who really need the healing from it. The other thing that I must say is only use ethical medicine. There are people who go and harvest this medicine from these frogs, and they tie them up and they stress the frogs and they remove the secretion that way. And if you use that kind of kambo, you are putting fear and distress into your body, which is not okay. It's not okay for you, and it's not okay for the frog as well. The medicine man that I work with is so deeply connected with one of the original communities, and though that original community has been living in the Amazon for who knows how long, hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of years, and they have such a deep relationship with this frog and the spirit of the frog that they call to the frog comes on their hand and it produces it for them. Sounds crazy, but that's what happens when humans actually cultivate and develop a relationship with the land and the spirits around them. So there are different ways for this medicine to be harvested. And do not use unethical harvesting. It's not okay. It's not okay. That's kind of a concern about these medicines becoming more popular, is people are just going to harvest them for the money that people will pay for them. But whole different topic for a whole different video. For real. But that's really important. Always use ethically sourced medicine. The other important thing is do not expect this medicine or any other plant medicine that you use in your life to do the work for you. I had a lot of insights come through all of those sessions of kambo that I did. Stop drinking alcohol, stop eating certain things. I eat personally more meat and fruits. That's my biggest diet, and it works for me. And we all have different ancestral DNA, and different diets work for different people. But I took the awareness that I got from that medicine and I straight away applied it to my life. You can't do kambo and then go straight back to eating junk food and drinking alcohol or doing these things that aren't good for us and expect us to stay healed. Because with all these medicines, they don't do the work for you. They're tools that help us realize and give us the awareness that we need to walk forward in more alignment and more harmony within our own minds, bodies, and hearts, right? So those are just a couple really important things that I wanted to say before ending this video about the medicine. Do your own research with it. People don't realize is they need to research the medicine people, research the shaman, research the practitioner or the healer. Talk to them, get a vibe for them, ask them where they've trained, ask them what communities they're connected to. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And it's your safety, it's your well-being, it's your life that's on the line with these medicines. And if you can find authentic, real, humble shamans who are full of integrity, they can help you to a degree that no one else can. But if they're not humble, if they're not authentic, if they're not leading their lives with integrity, they can also hurt you to a degree that no one else can. And that's really important to realize and be aware of in the shamanic world if you're diving into this stuff. Not all shamans are created equally, okay? That's a fact, and that's just a reality, because shamans are people and we're all human, right? Some of us have big egos. Some of us want to do it for the money. Some people want to do it for the power. That's a thing, fam. And we all need to always remember that and realize that. But that does not mean that's everyone, okay? I know so many incredible shamans of the medicines that they carry, out of this world, amazing angels on this earth. All in all, This story, this video is just to remind you that there is incredible healing in unexpected places. That's the main message, right? And there are real alternatives to Western medicine. And I think it's just important for everyone to remember that and realize that. Always move with your intuition forward. Always move through the intelligence of your heart. You know, I didn't know that I would find kambo in Colombia. I didn't know that it would completely heal me after 5 years of struggling and, you know, trying to go see doctors, but they weren't doing anything for me, even going the naturopathic route, but it really wasn't helping. I was at a loss, and I didn't know that that was going to happen, but God did. You know, the spirit of kambo did, and I'm so grateful for that. So I hope that this video helps you realize the potential of alternative healing therapies when they are done in the correct hands, in safe hands, in authentic hands, in hands that truly, truly care for your well-being. And let me tell you, majority of those people will be found on the lands that the medicine are from. You want to experience kambo, come to South America. You want to experience ayahuasca, come to South America. You want to experience iboga, go to Africa. Okay? That's just my personal opinion. But there is nothing like connecting to real indigenous people who have been practicing carrying these medicines for a long time, and learn from others who have carried from a long time. Okay? Maybe not in the United States in your friend's basement who got some ayahuasca and they want to share it. Please, God, no. Please, God, no. And, you know, I personally feel it's so important that there are some of us on this planet walking this path, respecting the traditions, being curious to learn from these people down here. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I'm so grateful that I'm almost towards the end of my training with kambo to be able to provide it and have the blessing from one of the original communities. I mean, I didn't see it coming. I can't make this stuff up, but here I am. So also remember, family, to let your heart guide you in this life. Get out of your mind sometimes. Open your arms to life. Allow life to move through you and put you where you belong. I am so much more at home here in these lands of Ecuador than I was anywhere moving around the United States. And I love the US, but for me and my spirit and my pathway, I truly could not find a sense of belonging. And that was okay for me. So anyway, if you like this video, please like it, comment, subscribe to my channel, comment other information you want me to share too. I'm always open to that. Remember that. Remember that you're sacred, remember that you're loved and that you matter, and I hope that this video has helped you in some way. That's all.